There is no question that the lead vocals are the most important piece of the worship team musical pie. But what about the backing vocals? How do they fit in? What is their role? Are the backing vocals just a duplication of the lead vocals, or do they have their own unique slice of the musical pie? Let's talk about that. If you are a backing vocalist or a worship leader who is trying to figure out how to best incorporate backing vocals into the worship team, we're going to walk through some super helpful tips in today's Weekly Worship Thoughts. The fundamental frequencies for the backing vocals are exactly the same as the fundamental frequencies for the lead vocals. Now this should be obvious, but we don't always think about it that way, which can become problematic. The fundamental frequencies for the typical male voice range from 85 Hz to 180 Hz, while the female voice typically ranges from 165 Hz to 255 Hz. However, because the backing vocals should be considered as an instrument that is meant to enhance the lead vocals, it is generally a good idea to lower the fundamental frequencies of the backing vocals and accentuate their harmonics upwards of 1 kHz or higher. Remember that backing vocals are not the same as multiple lead vocals. You want to tuck the backing vocals behind the lead vocals while still letting them shine through in the upper frequencies. As with the lead vocals, soundmen should always use a low cut or a high pass filter on the backing vocals. Now, I personally tend to run the low cut or the high pass filter quite aggressively on the backing vocals. The dynamic aspect of the backing vocals is critical. In the typical worship team setting, the backing vocals should not be considered choir vocals, nor should they be considered gang vocals. In a choir, everyone is singing a specific part pretty much all of the time. Every word and every note really matters. For gang vocals, we're really just trying to make it sound like a bunch of people are singing along. The parts don't really matter in that situation. And this can be a cool effect, but you don't need to add people on the stage in order to pull off this effect because the congregation is already taking care of that. So how do you accomplish good dynamics as a backing vocalist? Well, the key is to work the mic. I am a firm believer that backing vocalists should sing all of the time, but they should not sing into the mic all of the time. The role of the backing vocalist is both audible and visual. The audible side is their musical contribution. Preferably, backing vocals will enhance the music by adding harmony notes to the melody line provided by the lead vocalist. If your backing vocalists are not currently doing this, they're really just glorified gang vocalists and they need direction and training in how to harmonize. If your backing vocalists are singing harmony parts, as they should be, then they should not be singing into the mic all of the time. Not every line in the song needs harmony. Great backing vocalists will enhance the music by working the mic as they sing. If the line does not require their harmony, they will sing along, but not into the mic. If the line requires a nice, subtle harmony part, they will sing into the mic, but not close to their mouth. And if the line requires an obvious harmony part, they will sing with the mic very close to their mouth. And by working the mic, they are essentially mixing themselves in and out of the song. Now you may be saying to yourself, isn't mixing the backing vocals the sound man's job? Well, let me put it this way. If you don't mix yourself as a backing vocalist, you will only ever be noticed when you are way too loud. And at that point, the sound man will likely turn you down, but he will more than likely never remember to turn you back up. All right, so I have a standard microphone here. It's the Shure SM58, and I just want to talk a little bit about what this working the mic idea is all about. I really believe that backing vocalists, lead vocalists as well, but especially backing vocalists, should be working the mic. And that means if I'm going to sing, I can sing with the mic in my hand. I should be singing all the time, but if I'm going to actually contribute to the song, my part is really important, that's when I pull the mic up to my mouth, okay? So at that point, I'm really going to be mixed well into the song. If it's not an important part for me to sing, I'm going to go ahead and pull that thing back again. And a dynamic microphone is really responsive to the proximity of your mouth. So as you're a little bit further away, and never point it down at a floor wedge, by the way, that's feedback central. But you can just hold it off to the side, and when it's your turn to really contribute, bring it closer again. If you're just contributing a little bit, have it kind of near your mouth, but not right up to it. And that way, you'll be working the mic and you'll be mixing yourself, and the sound man will appreciate it. The audible role of the backing vocalist is to make a positive musical contribution by adding harmony vocals at just the right time and at just the right volume. The visual role of the backing vocalist is to make a positive impact on the congregation all of the time. In normal conversation, we all prefer to talk with someone who is excited and happy to see us, inviting, and fully engaged in what is going on. The same is true for church worship teams. Ideally, all of the worship team members will actively engage, invite, smile, and welcome the congregation into this amazing opportunity to become more aware of the presence and the glory of God through the act of worship. However, most of the people on stage have other things to think about as they are doing this. The guitarists are holding their instruments in their hands and possibly preparing to push pedals with their feet. The piano/keyboard player is paying attention to the notes at their fingertips, as well as ensuring they have the correct settings engaged. The drummer is using every limb of their body to keep the beat. I'm not giving them a free pass. They should still pay attention to their interaction with the congregation, but the backing vocalists are typically standing there with no other distractions. They are in the perfect position to focus on making a positive impact on the congregation. They can pray for the people, model what a heart fully devoted to God looks like. They can clap, they can dance, they can jump, they can smile. They can worship the Lord with all of their heart, soul, mind, and strength. The reality is that people cannot see your heart, your soul, or your mind, but they can clearly see whether or not you're worshiping the Lord with all of your strength. So as we're worshiping the Lord with all of our strength, I want to give a couple of tips there. First off, how you hold the mic is really important, okay? You don't want to hold it in front of your face, basically blocking everyone's view of your beautiful smile. That's not great. You want to hold it down in front of your face. You can get it really close to your mouth and people can still see your face. Your expression is going to be on your face as well as the rest of your body, so make sure you're not blocking your beautiful face with the microphone. Secondly, notice how I'm holding the microphone. I'm actually holding it behind the element here. A lot of people like to grip the microphone like this. It's like a rapper's version or something. I'm not sure. The mic is not designed to work that way. A microphone is in a cardioid pattern, which means it's meant to reject whatever is behind it. That's really helpful because if you have floor monitors that are putting music up, then the microphone is designed to eliminate any sound that is coming behind it. That eliminates feedback. If you put your hand there, you're actually blocking that mechanism of the microphone. And you can do this as a little test for yourself, but you will hear what's coming into the microphone so much more clearly if you don't block that. When you block it, the microphone doesn't really know how to adjust. This isn't plugged in, so you can't hear what's happening right now. But if I was holding this mic and it was plugged in, it would be a really mid-range, boxy version of my voice. You don't want that. You want the whole version of your voice, so hold it behind that rejection part of the element. One of the big mistakes we can make with a microphone is if we want to engage in the song, we want to jump, we want to clap, whatever. If you're going to jump, don't hold tightly to the microphone because it will click, click, click as you're jumping. You want to hold it kind of loosely in your hands so your fingers act as a little bit of a shock absorbent. Also, if you're going to clap, obviously if the microphone is on a stand, then you can just clap and it's not a problem. But if you're holding a mic, what a lot of people will do is actually clap right here on their wrist. It can be easy to think as a backing vocalist that you don't have an instrument, but that is not true. The truth is your voice is an instrument, and holding the mic, working the mic, understanding how the mic works, how to make it sound good and not sound bad is an important part of your role as a backing vocalist. In most situations, the backing vocals remain in the background for the entire musical set. However, there are moments or songs when a backing vocalist becomes the lead vocalist or even a second lead vocalist. And when this happens, it is imperative that the new roles are clearly assigned and understood. The person who was previously a lead vocalist should now assume the role of backing vocalist, applying all that was highlighted within this video to their new approach. And the person who is now stepping into a lead vocalist role should now apply all that was highlighted when we talked about the lead vocals. The sound man, likewise, may need to adjust the EQ of each vocalist to help them better fit into their role for that specific moment. If you are a backing vocalist, what was one interesting truth or idea that stood out to you about your role in the worship team? And how do you think that truth or idea will help you in the future? If you are not a backing vocalist, what did you learn about how to effectively communicate with the backing vocalists in your worship team? In your own words, how would you say the backing vocals fit into the typical worship music pie? How big of a slice should they get? What is the main role for the backing vocals in a typical worship team setting? How do the backing vocals typically fit into your own worship team context? Do you think you typically give them too big of a slice, too small of a slice, or just right? Given the information you just received, what do you think is the #1 thing that backing vocalists in your specific worship team context should work on in order to improve the overall quality of the worship team as a whole?